Is this snowing? Jerry gonna try to make me laugh. We would like to thank our mass media colleagues from Woodrow Wilson High School
Welcome to the Eliot Hine TV on Ustream.
and the District Knowledge Network.
I'm your host, Kamani.
I'm your host, Simone.
I'm your host, Kevion.
I'm your host, Janaya.
Joining us today as a guest on the show is Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technology Programs.
Our show topic is career and technical education.
Mr. Martin, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Our first segment is Understanding Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technology Programs for the District of Columbia.
Who are some of your role models and why?
Over the years, you have taken many leadership.
That's a good question. I would say my first role model was my grandmother. She was a strong woman, and she wasn't scared of anybody. She took care of her family. She was the rock of our family, and I learned about hard work and everything from her. I would next say that it's not a person, but a TV show, The Cosby Show. When I was growing up, you had negative images of African Americans all around us and so forth. And so when I saw through The Cosby Show, I saw people that looked like me, who were successful, who worked hard, and it showed me a pathway to be successful. And I didn't see that in my neighborhood. So, I think the Cosby Show was a program that pretty much gave me that role model feel. And then finally, my mentor, who's been my mentor for 25 years, his name is Dr. Carl White. He came to my high school like 27 years ago. I didn't go to one of the better high schools in Baltimore, Maryland, and he started an engineering program there. He believed in us students at the school where other people didn't believe in us, and because of that, I went on to go and receive a bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering, and ultimately got me to the position I am now. So I think those are the three role model types I follow.
Over the years, you have taken many leadership roles. What are 3 lessons you have learned along the way?
One of the lessons I've learned is you need to be passionate about the work you do. You have to have something that's going to wake you up in the morning. And so I've worked hard enough in my life to choose careers that I'm passionate about. So that's one. You have to know that you have to earn respect in leadership positions. Some people think just because you're a leader, people who follow you or people who are your supervisors must respect you. And that's not the case. And so in the positions I've gotten over the years, I've always recognized that I had to earn the respect of my colleagues, and that's very important. And then thirdly, and this is kind of hard to deal with, but you got to be comfortable not recognizing that you're not always going to be the smartest person in the room. As a leader, the expectation is that you know everything and you're the brightest and so forth, but that's not true. But you have to be comfortable with that. And so for me, in my position, I have to know a lot of things, but I have to be okay with knowing that people in my team have certain areas in which they know more than me, and that's good. That makes this team stronger, and it helps me learn things on a constant basis.
If you could select one word to describe your work ethic, what would it be and why?
Persistent. In life, there are going to be hardships. There's going to be things that are going to try to derail you in being successful, but you have to overcome those things. And so for me, I've had some tough positions, not tough as far as physically tough, but just tough as far as having to solve big problems. And so being persistent at something and trying to figure out ways to solve problems and never giving up would probably describe me, my work ethic.
In your opinion, why should young adults embrace their education?
Because education is the great equalizer. In life, everybody doesn't come into this world on the same level as far as their financial situations are concerned. You have people who come in the world who are poor, middle class, rich, and so forth. But the one thing that helps us balance out where we come from is education. And so if you value education and you want to do things in life, that value in education helps you move up in your station in life. So if you grew up in a poor neighborhood like I did, that didn't define me. And so I was able to use education to get to this position where I am today. No one would ever thought that I was going to go on to be an engineer and so forth because of the neighborhood I grew up in. But education did that. And so I can tell people I worked at NASA. I was a power system engineer, and that's because of education. And because of that, I'm in the position I'm in right now. And so if I didn't have education, I'd probably be doing something I don't want to do. So.
Now we're going to check in with Kanaya Green Lewis at the Eliot Hine News Desk.
Welcome to the Eliot Hine Network News Report. George Washington was once one of the founding fathers of the United States and served as the nation's first president. In the American Revolutionary War, he commanded Patriots forces to victory against the British and their allies. I am Kanai Green Lewis. Now I am going to swing it over to Eliot Hine Network crew.
We're going to take a quick break to check in with our mass media colleagues at Calvin Coolidge High School.
Start off with this right here. Alright, no, I'm sorry. That was the intro. We're gonna go in with this.
It's not funny.
Alright, we're gonna go. You can switch. Quick. You ready how much time? Alright, you can switch. So you're reading off second segment, okay? You're reading off second segment. And then when you go to news, like what we did, when we go to news and we come back, you can. And then when we come back, we're going to check in with right here. Right there. We're going to check in with Blue. Okay? Alright? 30 seconds. Alright, so you go in with second segment, like this. Alright? Put your finger on second segment. Alright? And then you read, go to second question, go to come back. If you come back, you're going to say what? You come back and take a break.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that.
There you go. Alright, here we go. I'm going to start here. 17 seconds. Get ready. Mic's up. And here we go.
Ha ha ha.
5 seconds.
This broadcast is being brought to you by the Eliot Hine TV on Ustream
And the district, Knowledge Network.
I'm your host, Jada.
I'm your host, Michaela.
I'm your host, Janaya.
I'm your host, Jakaya.
Joining us as a guest on the show today is Mr. What's your name?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Our show topic is career and technical education. Oh, what? Hold on. Our segment is connecting the classroom to the workforce.
What is career and technical education?
His name is Dr. Clifton Martin.
Music go.
This broadcast has been brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream.
And the District Knowledge Network.
I'm your host, Jada.
I'm your host, Michaela. I'm your host, Janaya.
I'm your host, Jakaya.
Joining us as a guest on the show today is Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technology Programs.
Our show topic is career and technical education. Our first segment was Understanding Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technology Programs for the District of Columbia.
Our second segment is connecting the classroom to the workforce.
What is your career and technical education?
Career technology education is an educational structure that provides students with academic and technical skills, knowledge, and trainings necessary to succeed in future careers.
What is the overall goal of DCPS Career and Technical Education Office?
In my office, my ultimate goal is to provide resources to teachers and students, to ensure that we have a quality CTE program across the district. And so we provide professional development for teachers, we provide equipment for students, we also provide work-based learning opportunities. We let students do field trips that is related to the careers they're interested in. So again, I provide all the resources so our CTE teachers can do the best they can possibly do for our CTE students across the district.
How does CTE connect the classroom to real-world experiences?
Well, we do that in two ways. First, inside of our CTE classrooms, most of our programs are project-based, hands-on, and so what we try to do is make sure students have the same type of technology that they would have if they were actually in those careers. And so if we were working with if engineers are using 3D printers to make models and so forth, then we want to make sure that our students are using 3D models in the classroom. If our mass media programs are doing news networks just like they do on Channel 5 and NBC and so forth, we want to make sure that our students are using the same type of equipment that they're using on those news channels. If our culinary art program, if we have chefs and they have the state-of-the-art equipment as it relates to the kitchen equipment, we want to make sure that our CTE classrooms have that same equipment. And so that's how we connect it as it relates to the content and instruction. But on the other end, we also make sure we provide work-based learning opportunities for our students. And so that means bringing in industry people inside the classroom. And so for engineering, we bring an engineer in the classroom to talk to students about their experiences. But also, in other fields, we try to bring those people, those professionals in. But also, we have our students go out into those industries. So if you are a person who wants to be a chef, we take you to a professional kitchen, and you actually have those opportunities to interact and see what a professional kitchen looks like. If you're doing a news network, we try to take you to a real news channel. Not saying this is not real, this is really real. But we try to expose you to those fields by direct touch. And finally, we let you have the opportunity to actually do work in those environments. So we provide internships for you so you can get paid work in those environments with professionals. And so those are the two ways we try to connect our programs to the real world.
Why is it important for students to have technical background before they graduate from high school?
That's a really good question. The best way I can answer that is that it gives students an advantage if they have those technical skills. So when you graduate from high school, you're going to be competing against millions of people, not just in DC or not just in this area, but across the country and the world. So if we can give you as many skills as possible, that gives you an advantage over those other people who don't have those skill sets. So when you graduate from high school with those skill sets, those technical skill sets, let's say you don't want to go to college, but if you get a certification or we've done our jobs and give you certain skills, then you probably going to be able to go out and get a good job outside of college where other students won't have those same opportunities.
We are going to take a quick break.
Now we're going to swing it over to. Now we're going to swing it over to Naraya at the Eliot Hine News Desk.
Welcome to the Eliot Hine Network News Report. The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the United States. The Constitution delineates the national frame of the government. I'm Yvonne, and now I'm going to swing it over to the Eliot Hine Network crew.
We are going to take a quick break to check in with our mass media colleagues at Ballou Senior High School.
This broadcast is being brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream
and the District Knowledge Network.
I'm your host, Kamani.
I'm your host, Simone.
I'm your host, Kevion.
I'm your host, Janaya.
Our show topic today is career and technical education.
Joining us as a guest today on the show is Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technical Programs.
Our first segment was Understanding Clifton Martin, Director of Career Technology Programs for District of Columbia.
Our second segment was Connecting the Classroom to the Workforce.
How does CTE help students become prepared for college or the workforce?
Another good question. So we don't look at, we don't compare college and workforce against each other. So for us, CTE prepares young people for the workforce. College also prepares young people for the workforce. So college is just another avenue to the workforce. And so what we try to do in our programs is give students as much skills, as much credentials as possible for them to make a decision on when they want to enter the workforce. And so when students graduate from high school, they can make a decision at that point that I want to go and get a job. So we want to make sure we prepare them if that's what they want to do. Or a student can say, well, I want to do an apprenticeship. And so apprenticeship is basically where you go to school and you work and you get paid. And so we want to prepare them for that. Or a student might say, well, I want to go do a post-secondary education. I want to do go to community college for 2 years. We prepare them for that. And then ultimately, if a student wants to do a 4-year college, then we prepare them for that. But all those avenues are ways for students to go into the workforce. And so we want to prepare them for each one of those pathways if that's what they want to do. And so, especially when students want to leave high school and go into careers, we want to make sure we give them the technical skills and the certifications that would empower them to get quality jobs. And the certification basically tells an employer that this person has the skills needed to do a certain job within your organization. And so some jobs you can't even get if you don't have certifications. Other jobs that give you an advantage if you have the certifications. And so that's one of the things that we push within our programs.
What is your overall goal of the DCPS Career and Technical Office?
Again, I think, for our office, we want to support young people, but we definitely want to support our teachers. And so I provide those resources. And again, this is a great question because that's my job. My job is to give those teachers those resources to be successful. Because if our teachers are successful, then our students will be successful.
How can the workforce reach out to you? And what steps should they take if they wanted to develop a partnership with the District of Columbia Public Schools?
If they wanted to reach out to me, they can reach out to central office and ask for the director for CTE. I basically, on my email or on our website, my information, my contact information is there. I'm open to having discussions with any industry partners because anybody who's looking for our students to give them a quality job, I want to have that conversation with them. And so I want to break down any barriers that might be in the way. But yeah, they just got to reach, they can just look on my website, our district website, or they can just call the district and ask for me, and they can get in contact with me.
Talk to us about why CTE connects students to cooperate America at an early age.
That's a good question. And you have a lot of good questions. Y'all making me nervous. So I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was in middle school, I didn't have any idea what an engineer was. So if I never knew what an engineer was, I would never have gone into engineering. And so what happened was I thought an engineer was a person that worked on engines. I used to watch Star Trek, and Scotty, y'all too young for that, but Scotty was the engineer for the Enterprise, and all he did was fix the engines. So I thought engineers were engineers fix engines. I didn't know what it was until I got to high school, where my mentor came from a college, and he put an engineering program in front of us, and from there I learned what engineering was, and I decided I wanted to do it. But if you don't know about something, how can you become that? And so that's why it's important that we connect young people to different career fields, because you don't know what you want until you see it. And so we try to be as diverse as possible. We try to give you as many options as possible, and so that you can make a wise decision on what you want to do. And I think it's really a tragedy when we don't expose young people to diverse opportunities, because again, if you don't know about it, you're never going to go in those areas.
Do you have any final thoughts for students at Eliot Hine?
Yeah, education is power. You have to take ownership of your education. When you were in elementary school, when you were younger, your parents were responsible to make sure that you did your homework and make sure you were studying and so forth. But when you go into middle school and high school, you have to take ownership of that. Your parents they're gonna back off a little bit, but you're the person you're gonna have to drive that interest. For me, I mean, one of the reasons I'm successful, I believe I'm successful, is because I empowered myself in the educational area. And so again, education is power. Take ownership of it. If you need help, ask for help. And it's never too late to figure out what you want to do. It's never too early to know what you want to do. So right now, if there's something that you're interested in, then talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, talk to your neighbors, and try to find out more information about those areas. But recognize that you might change your mind when you get into high school, and that's okay. Again, I've had 7 to 8 different jobs, but that was my choice. I never got laid off. I never got fired. I moved from job to job because I wanted to grow my experience in different areas. And because of that, now I'm the director of CTE in the District of Columbia, which is probably one of the most high-profile CTE positions in the country. And so, again, you are young, and you have a right to make those decisions, but expose yourself to different opportunities, and you'll do great. So,
Mr. Martin, thank you for being a guest on our show.
Thanks for having me. And again, I'm just so impressed by this, and again, I thank you.
This broadcast is brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream
and the District Knowledge Network.
Have a great day.
Great job.
I am sweating. I would like this. Can we get up now? Because I got a camera back there.